Hi everyone! We're at the end of our MOOC on globally distributed software engineering, and it's time for a wrap-up. We've had 7 weeks of lessons by a large number of great guest lecturers, and furthermore, you had intense collaboration within your own distributed team. Hopefully everything worked out really well in your team, and you succeeded in making a great contribution to the body of knowledge in global software engineering. If things did not work out in your team, please learn from this too. Working distributed in teams is not always easy and needs extra energy and attention from you and from your teammates. Just putting a few people together that have never met and asking them to form a team is a great challenge. And when all of these people collaborated distributed, that's even a much greater challenge. Therefore, this MOOC has not been set up to only teach you the theory and experience of practitioners in GDSE, but has also been set up to let you get real, live and hands-on experience working together in a fully distributed team. For sure you have experienced time zone differences, maybe even summertime, wintertime shifting, language difficulties, collaboration preferences, tooling choices and challenges. And you may even have experienced cultural differences within your team too. But hopefully you really enjoyed all of these. After all, overcoming hurdles and building a joint deliverable as a team can be really satisfying and rewarding. I sincerely hope you will value this experience and capture the lessons learned for yourself and your organization. But let me recapture on the lectures in this MOOC and emphasize some of the highlights. We've listened to a number of guest lecturers coming from decision-making level in industry. People such as Suzanne Kelder of KPN, Emiel Romein of Exact, Paul Chia of GPIC and Svenja de Vos of LeaseWeb. They all shared their lessons in creating circumstances in which people can be successful. Paul Chia focused on selecting the best fitting country to work with, showing not only the most common destinations, but also a few exotic ones, some of which I had never thought of, or maybe even think these to be possible. Political stability is, for example, an important boundary condition for GDSE, so I never thought of North Korea, to be honest. But the other decision makers look much broader than country selection alone in their lectures. They consider their decisions in the widest sense. How do I, as a leader, enable globally distributed software engineering to become successful for my organization and my people? To me, that is the role of leadership, creating context for success. When working locally, sometimes a leader can manage by steering on details and being involved in day-to-day choices. In a distributed context, that is no longer possible. Command and control leadership is impossible in distributed software engineering. Details go beyond the manager's control when working distributed, and is then best delegated to the people that do the actual work. Therefore, I really like leaders that steer on context. Leaders that attempt to create great circumstances for their people. The decision makers in these lectures have shared you their knowledge and experiences. Especially they shared some of the tricks too. For example, bypass the facades that some suppliers build up, to really find out how life is as a distributed software engineer in these companies. To go off the beaten track, talk to the people in the corner, and build personal relationships. By focusing on creating context for success, great leaders create circumstances so that our distributed people and teams have the highest probability for success. And that to me is leadership. That easily brings me to Agile. In this MOOC we gave some specific focus to distributed Agile through talks of especially Ilko Rustenberg and not to forget Jeff Sutherland himself. They all showed us why distributed Agile and using Scrum are a great option for distributed teams. Counterintuitive for some people maybe, as they see Agile especially for small co-located teams. However, the likelihood of mistakes and misunderstandings is higher when working distributed. As such, working iteratively is an enormous fix for that risk. Short iterations increase understanding, increase learning and pull feedback forward. These lecturers helped to figure out how this works in daily life. I'm grateful for their participation, knowledge and insights. The eye-opener for me was the way in which Jeff Sutherland explained the Scrum values: courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness, and how he linked them to practice. For me, this underlines that software engineering is a people profession. That it's all about people that spend a large portion of their life trying to build great software. That it's about people that need to interact intensively, be it distributed, to build valuable and great software products for and with their customers. These talks reconvinced me that in distributed settings you must work in iterations to be successful. I believe that without iterations, distributed software engineering will fail. So I strongly recommend to work iteratively. And Agile and Scrum are great ways to establish exactly that. We also looked at a variety of aspects that are typical for distributed software engineering teams. A number of specialists from the research world, such as Daria Schmitte from Bleking Institute in Sweden and Eran Carmel from American University, shared their knowledge and experience from a research perspective. But both are not the traditional desktop researchers. No, Daria and Eran go out into the field. They observe and analyze. They dive themselves into the real companies and real global teams. They see patterns that others have not seen, and they collect the data that is so scarce in our body of knowledge. Furthermore, they dare to be critical. They don't happily sing along with the majority, but look for evidence and try to point out and solve existing challenges. They look for the possible, but also search for the impossible. But does this mean we should not do distributed software engineering at all? As it is so much harder, why should we advocate it? To me, the answer is pretty simple. Working globally distributed is no longer a choice. It's a fact of life. The question is no longer if we need to work distributed, but the question has become how to do it well. Especially within an ever-increasing digital world, we need every software engineer that's around. However, yes, globally distributed software engineering is harder. So we must solve these challenges. We must discover issues and resolve them forever. We must find new technologies that decrease distance, and especially technologies that attempt to completely dissolve the perception of distance. If we no longer perceive distance, then it really doesn't matter anymore. We have no choice. We live in a globally distributed world. That's what it is. Let's try to make the best of that and keep getting better in doing so. Research is needed for that, and especially research and development in the field of practice. These two research lecturers showed you how. But we also listened to the real practitioners in the field, the distributed software engineers. We learned what they see as the most important aspects of working distributed on a global scale. Guys such as Prajesh Pratap of InfoSupport, Eric Amerlaan of Exact, and Maran Gunashkaran of Proairness. They told us the most important aspects about the automation of global software delivery pipelines. They show the importance of technology to make globally distributed engineering work. After all, automation of repetitive and failure-prone tasks will increase the effectiveness of software engineering. And when working distributed, they help in making iterations shorter, and that's always good. The faster feedback is created, the less time and energy is wasted. Technological developments, as shown by these engineers, will help to make GDSE work much better in practice. But technology is not everything. These practical lecturers clearly show the importance of interaction between all people involved, creating joint perceptions and building mental models as a team. For me, I was really happy to hear how they emphasize the importance of communication, especially the importance to be aware of that yourself and to carefully and explicitly select a communication medium to pass your message to others. And of course, they reconfirmed that meeting face-to-face is still crucial. Working globally distributed does not mean you never meet. It means you must meet frequently, sometimes using technology, but also regularly on the same location. We are human beings after all, And building relations and creating mutual understanding is still most effective when done face to face. And yes, drinking a cup of coffee or tea together, or maybe even something stronger, really helps to building great teams. Finally, I'm very happy that Diana Elzinga from Powernis was willing to focus on the cultural aspects that are connected with working in a global setting. She clearly showed differences between two specific countries and helped to understand how to deal with these. The idea of a team manifesto really resonated with me. I expect that this will be of great help to any team, so especially to distributed ones. To me, culture is on the one hand really interesting in the GDZ domain, but not at all on the other. Yes, there are cultural differences to be aware of and to consider, but it should not be seen as problems to me, but more as interesting differences to enjoy and build upon. Cultural differences are fun. That's why we go on holidays, don't we? So yes, culture is of interest, but at the same time it isn't. And I want to emphasize that because culture is just one of the many things that makes us unique as human beings. Globally distributed software engineering is done by people, and every individual is special, always. People are different by nature. So to do GDSE successfully and build great distributed teams, the people dimension is of crucial interest. But national culture is just one single aspect. There are many, many, many more. Individual, different and unique, thankfully. So be really careful with looking to individual people using a generalized cultural bias. So, to wrap up, I give closing thanks to all of these lecturers and their willingness to share their time, knowledge and experience in this MOOC. Making these videos, questions and interviews is a lot of work and many people are involved. But a final thanks goes out to you, our participants in this MOOC. You made it really worthwhile for us to spend this effort. After all, a MOOC without participants isn't really a MOOC, is it? This MOOC cannot exist without you. So a sincere thanks goes really out to you. With that, this final video ends. We are happy to hear your experiences, ideas and feedback. We will continue to improve this MOOC to fit current and future needs. So please, let us know your thoughts and experiences. After all, our world is becoming more and more digital in an ever-increasing speed. To cope with that, we need the best globally distributed software engineers in the world. We expect your help with that. Thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed it.